Howdy, welcome to Of Goths and Goblins. I'm the crushing sense of the vast emptiness of space, DeLaney. Emma, please make a goblin noise.
Ow.
Thank you, Emma. Today we'll be talking about wholesome horror. Emma, do you have any idea as to what that means?
I have no clue what that means.
Cool.
To me, I think it sounds like, what is that one? Happy Tree Friends? That's what I'm thinking of.
Kind of, but no.
No.
You're on the right track. Happy Tree Friends is a bit too violent.
Okay.
So essentially, wholesome horror is a term that I've given to horror properties that aren't necessarily scary, but are still obviously horror.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, most properties are actually intended for children, but can still be enjoyed by a wide audience.
Like Phineas and Ferb.
Yes. Like Phineas and Ferb.
Except Phineas and Ferb is nice and not scary.
Yeah.
For most, unless you're scared of Perry the Platypus, like Doofenshmirtz's.
I'm the most scary thing of all. A bad grade! No! Baljeet. So we're going to be talking about a few, like, horror properties today that are wholesome horror, as well as taking a look into why some of these horror properties are so nostalgic to a lot of people. So, to begin, what would make horror wholesome? You know, how can these two terms be even closely related to each other?
You know, a cute little rabbit. What about, like, the Holy Grail? Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Exactly. Just like that. Where it's, on the surface, it's cute and fun, but then, like, also kind of scary if you think about it.
Yeah, like the rabbit that goes...
So, a similar question to the how can horror be wholesome, same question, different font, is how can people make things that are horror but for kids? So, to add a bit of credibility to my words, I know you know, Emma.
I know.
But I don't know if they know, two people that listen to us, one of which is me.
The other's me. No one's listening.
No, it's just us. To add a bit of credibility, I have always loved creepy things. I essentially learned to read off of the Goosebumps books. Side note, I don't know if you know this, Emma, but my favorite book is the Reader Beware, You Choose the Scare, Choose Your Own Adventure book. Please don't feed the vampires.
I never read Goosebumps books.
Oh, I still love Goosebumps. Looking back, they're not that great, but I love them so much. And even though the movie Gremlins gave me nightmares for a week, I love spooky things.
I did not like Gremlins.
I watched Gremlins once when I was like 7 years old. Wouldn't sleep in my own bed for like probably a month.
Rhett and Brenna, my siblings, ran when the gremlin was thrown into the microwave.
Ugh.
My dad made me stay and watch.
Oh my gosh. Maybe there's a reason you turned out this way. I remember very specifically sitting down in like the basement and watching like ghost hunting shows, mainly Ghost Adventures.
Oh, yeah.
But it was one of those things where it was always, I watched it, and then right after it, I freaked out. I always got so paranoid afterwards. All of this to say is that I know what I'm talking about when I say that kids, at least the cool ones, really enjoy horror. To put it bluntly, kids are little adrenaline junkies. They're just now starting to realize that they're alive and they want to feel like it. The chemicals and body languages assigned with horror and fear are the same ones that are assigned to happiness and excitement. The body releases chemicals when it's scared. Chemicals that are also released when the body is happy. Chemicals like dopamine and serotonin and other endorphins can cause a quote-unquote joy response in the brain. And these chemicals are released in moments of fear. So these kids are just now realizing that they're alive, but they aren't realizing that they're mortal. And so when these two things are combined, it can create a reaction of reckless self-endangerment. But since most kids are supervised by their parents or an adult, hopefully, at almost all times of the day, they don't get to feel that rush of something, the rush that some things may be able to provide. So in short, Chids. In short,
Child.
children are little adrenaline junkies who crave the feeling of being in control. And when certain moments, they can control their own fear by watching spooky things, right? And so, with all that being said, and I took one psych class.
One psych
moment
class.
of
That's all right. I didn't take any.
I took one psych class, and so don't mean to brag.
You know everything there is to know.
Everything. I know a bit about normal psychology and 80s psychology. Excuse you.
Oh yeah.
My
back
dad
in
has
the
a
80s.
Back in the 80s, my dad has a psychology degree. Works with computers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So with all that being said, let's actually talk about wholesome horror. So, like I said earlier, my favorite thing to read as a kid was Goosebumps from the school library. Now, I know that the school library didn't have every single Goosebumps book known to mankind, but they did have a lot of them. And there are a lot of them. 235 books to be exact, and that number keeps rising. I think I saw that there are at least 3 new books being released this year.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't
Nice.
look too deep into it, but I saw that. Goosebumps has a series of books called Give Yourself Goosebumps, which are the Reader Beware, You Choose the Scared books that I really liked as a kid. And the phrase, Reader Beware, you choose the scare, will be etched into my brain permanently and will never leave. As you can probably guess, those were my favorite books in the franchise, like I said earlier, probably.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. I love those books. I've already talked about my favorite book in the franchise, Please Don't Feed the Vampires, but there are a lot more. The layout of these books is actually pretty simple. So it's like any choose-your-own-adventure book. The first 20 or so pages are read like a normal book, but you'll eventually be met with a decision, i.e., open a blood packet with your teeth or go and get scissors. And so each choice will tell you to go to a certain page. So, Emma, you have 2 choices.
Okay.
I know that you're reading off my screen, but you have 2 choices.
Okay.
So either you just you have a little packet of fake blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get it open with your hands. So either you just rip that guy open with your teeth, or you just go get a pair of scissors from the kitchen.
I'd go get a pair of scissors from the kitchen.
Well, congratulations. You set the blood packet down on the bathroom counter and you go get your scissors. And while you're gone, your mom's poodle, Fluffy, gets up on the counter and is like, "Yo, dog, that's a snack right there." And he just tears into this thing with its large poodle teeth.
Yeah, well, joke's on you. We don't have a poodle.
Well, joke's on you. Your poodle you don't have is now a vampire and is on a murderous rampage.
Like Bunicula?
Like Bunicula.
Oh my gosh.
But there's a lot of other goofy choices like that. So there's one called Trapped in Batwing Hall. And this book follows you and your new friend Nick as you join his horror club. You know, one thing leads to another and you're sent on a scavenger hunt. Another thing leads to another thing, and a accumulation of events could lead you to getting turned into a bat and stuck in a freezer where you freeze to death. You turning into a bat and inventing a new flavor of ice cream, all while remaining a bat. And you falling to your death down an empty elevator shaft, or you getting arrested by the police for breaking and entering. When I have a stable income, personally, this script is all over the place, but when I have a stable income, I don't know about you, but I would love to have just like a fancy, like the entire 235 Goosebumps books, all like bound, all fancy like, you know?
Just call up the author and be like, "Hey, can you come handwrite these for me?"
Hey, Mr. R.L. Stein.
Big fan.
Big fan of your work. I don't know if you know this, but I just got out of college.
I'm rich.
I am in debt. But
I'll pay you good money.
I could give you $5.
$5. Yeah. Go buy yourself something nice with that.
Yeah. No, the whole 35, however many, I don't remember.
I thought it was 235.
I think it's 325. Let me see. You're right. I am dyslexic.
You're blowing things way out of proportion, man.
I know, I'm sorry. It's 235. All of these books would probably take up no more than a shelf and a half.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
They're really thin, but I would love them to be fancy looking. I love
You
those
know, when
books.
someone asks you what you did over the summer, I read 200 books.
Yeah. It's like
What
you
did you
in
do?
5th grade. It's like, I read so many books, like, really
Well,
big font.
what else was I supposed to do?
Develop a healthy coping mechanism.
No, I didn't want to do that. That was hard work.
That's fair. So, on the subject of books, really quick, I just remembered. I know you probably don't remember because I doubt you checked out this book. There was a book in the intermediate school library that was like coffin shaped.
Mm-hmm.
Have I told you about this?
No.
So it was like coffin shaped. I don't remember what it was called, but like inside the book was like just a bunch of things that were like, yeah, and here we have Robert the doll, which is a haunted doll that if you take pictures of and he doesn't want you to take pictures of him, you'll die. Or like this is yeah, and it's like this is a banshee. That's a type of ghost. Sweet. I remember I checked that book out so many times, and one time Braden checked out that book and I was like, hey, I really want to read that book. Can I sit next to you and read that book for the 1000th time?
Over your shoulder?
Literally, we sat like crisscross applesauce next to each other with the book on the floor in front of us, and I would finish the page first because way back then I could read, and I'd just be sitting there like, you done? You done?
You done?
You done?
Can I flip the page?
Can I flip the page and learn more about spooky things, witches?
Braden, read faster.
Dang it, Braden, read. So, on the subject, delightful transition, on the subject of books that I checked out from the school library that I probably shouldn't have, scary stories to tell in the dark. Now, I know that as an adult, the content of these stories isn't actually all that scary. The illustrations, however, that follow along with these stories will burn into any child's brain and stick with them forever. Even as an adult, I don't like looking at them. They're kind of creepy, not gonna lie. They're really spindly and like spiderweb.
Those drawings are always so creepy.
I know. I don't, like, I love them. But, like...
I know, they're impressive, but
yeah.
It's like, they're so impressive. They make you feel things.
Yeah, it's like, I am an adult. I understand that this is a drawing.
Dog.
It's like, I understand that this is a drawing. But I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm just going to see it. Ugh. So these books... I don't know if you ever read those.
I don't think I did.
But these books came with, like, special little instructions of things to do while you were reading them. So, like, for example, it would be like, yeah, and then after you say this line, blow out the candle at this exact moment. Or, like, after the person asks for their toe bag, lean over and grab your friend and yell, boo! And spook them. Isn't that so spooky?
Did you ever do that?
No, because I never had friends.
You had me.
I had you and Jarrett, but, like, you guys never wanted to read them. And so I just was like, okay.
Well, I was reading my mythology books.
I know. Which we talked about a lot as kids and as adults. We talk about it a lot.
I don't even remember them.
Mythologies?
No, like, there was, like, modern mythologies.
Oh, like the Mythomania!
Yeah, with, like, the Titans versus the gods, and it was, like, a soccer game or a football game or something.
It was like, hey, I'm Hades. And I know that the story you've heard about me is that I kidnapped my wife, but that's not true. I love my wife.
Love my wife.
I'm just a man who loves his wife. Yeah. My dog is a pug.
It was a pug?
Yes!
Maybe this is why I really want a pug.
Cerberus was a pug. He was a 3-headed pug.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I think about that all the time. He was on the cover. Poseidon was a fish dude. But he was also a server guy.
Makes sense.
I've dug up a lot of memories about this suddenly.
This is a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot to remember.
So, no, scary stories to tell in the dark are, at their heart, they're children's book. And so looking back on them, they're really silly. But, like, it was one of those things that, like, as a kid, you were like, yeah.
That's terrifying.
I've read these books. I'm not like other girls.
I'm different.
I'm quirky. I read a slightly spooky book. So we talked about vampire dogs earlier. And now, you mentioned him earlier. We're going to talk about vampire rabbits.
Bunicula.
Bunicula is a beloved children's book. And I know you know. But I don't know if they know which is us because we're the only two people that listen to this
Yeah.
podcast. Bunicula is... Would you like to tell them the story of Bunicula since you're reading over my shoulder?
Yeah, I will.
Go for it.
Okay, so Bunicula follows a story of a dog whose people just got a pet rabbit.
Mhm.
And the dog realizes, isn't the dog's name like Chowder or something?
I think
Chester.
Chester. It's Chester.
Chester. But this dog is like confused and uncomfortable around this rabbit. This rabbit is weird.
Rabbits
It's-
are just kind of weird.
I
in
mean, yeah, the
general.
rabbits are a little weird. But it's got like white and black fur and then bright red eyes. Like, you know, those white rabbits that
Mhm.
have the red eyes. Kind of like that.
Kind of like an albino rabbit.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? Isn't it like a little like vampire peak?
Yeah, it has like those little
Ugh.
peak on its head.
I would kill to have a rabbit like that.
No, but the rabbit also has like really long fangs, which rabbits shouldn't have. It's a rabbit. It eats lettuce. Does it eat lettuce?
I don't think rabbits should
Rabbits
have
don't
lettuce.
eat lettuce. They eat vegetables, okay? They don't need fangs.
I'm not a rabbit owner. Rabbit owners, don't
Let
yell
us
at
know.
Please be nice. I'll cry if you're mean to me.
But the dog thinks this rabbit wants blood.
As all rabbits do. Like the rabbit from Monty Python!
Exactly.
Ah.
This vampire rabbit is different though.
It's not like other rabbits.
Not like other vampire rabbits. It eats vegetables. It like sucks the juices out of the vegetables. So like tomatoes would have little pricks in them, and then it'd be like a white tomato, which doesn't really make sense.
You know, it's...
But you gotta like somehow show that the color's gone.
Yeah, I genuinely would really want to like just touch one of those. It's like, what is it? Is it like a dehydrated carrot? Like carrots
Imagine you just
specifically.
send your rabbit out into the garden just dehydrating all your fruits. Be like, trail mix.
No, it's never actually confirmed though that Bunicula is a vampire.
No.
But there's signs obviously to prove that he is, like, you know, the fruits and vegetables. And, you know, he gets out of his cage by himself and he roams the house at night and he's repelled by garlic and stuff. And so according to all known laws of aviation, Bunicula is a vampire. Except I did Google it last minute, and rabbits should not have garlic.
Anyways.
And so it's poisonous to garlic.
Garlic is poisonous to garlic, or rabbits?
Rabbits are poisonous to garlic. No, garlic is poisonous. I'm having a stroke today. Garlic is poisonous to rabbits.
They cannot eat the garlic.
Yeah, and so we're ignoring that fact, and so Bunicula is a vampire.
Vampire rabbit.
Vampire rabbits. Moving on to the silver screen. We are going to talk about some wholesome movies. Wholesome spooky movies. So there are countless examples of wholesome horror in movies. One of my favorite movies of all time, Beetlejuice, would be classified as wholesome horror. Because even though there are elements of horror, such as ghosts and themes of death and giant sandworms, it still maintains that weird, cozy, Midwestern comfort. Even though the Dietzes are being haunted, one of the main themes of the movie is family. And some other examples of wholesome horror in movies are The Corpse Bride, a lovely movie. Edward Scissorhands is one of those where it's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, it could go either way.
But it's still on that line of, it's a comfy horror. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I just watched that like 2 months ago. The first time ever.
I know. I was baffled by that.
I know.
Did you like it?
I did. It was pretty good.
I think it's good. Nightmare Before Christmas is one of those things where it's like, I like Nightmare Before Christmas, but also I don't want to look like those kids who are like, oh, I'm so emo. Look at me in my Jack Skellington hoodie. Aren't I so emo? I just got this from Hot Topic. And I'm like, oh, ruined it.
For me, it's like, I like it. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, though.
Yeah, I get that. I don't actually watch Nightmare Before Christmas that often.
Do you watch it before Christmas?
No.
Really?
I just watch it when I feel like it.
Mm.
It's like Die Hard. I've never seen Die Hard.
I've never
seen Die Hard.
Mm. Well, it's... Die Hard is... No, wait, I'm thinking of a different movie. Never mind, ignore me. Braveheart. I was thinking of Braveheart. Very different.
Two very different movies. I've seen Braveheart. It made me
Braveheart
cry.
is not historically accurate.
No, but it made me cry because the horses die.
Yeah, that was pretty sad.
Monster House is another lovely, wholesome horror. And my personal favorite, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
More rabbits.
More rabbits. What is this overarching theme?
Wholesome. Rabbits are wholesome.
Rabbits are kind
What?
Rabbits are kind of weird. I don't like them. Their faces are weird. They're cute, but they're weird. Something that most of these movies have in common, other than rabbits, is the thought of tense or dark themes alleviated by moments of comedy, right? So, like, the visuals and the theme of the movie can hold overall darker tones, but everything about the movie is comforting. Like, have you heard of, like, the armchair detective side of true crime shows? Where it's like, yeah, we're just sitting here, we're having a fun time talking about this mystery, but we're not gonna, like, show you a dude stabbing this woman.
Yeah.
It's like, we're just talking, what happened to this dude? Who knows? It's like BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Dead. The dude's dead.
I thought you were talking about BuzzFeed Unsolved. And I was
No.
like, no. They're both very much alive, I think. Okay. Emma, I don't know if you saw this, but I know that I'm going to get started on something.
Well, don't.
Addams Family. I'm starting. The Addams Family. They are all very dark and intimidating on the outside, but when you look closer, you see a nice, loving family. You see two parents who love each other and are not afraid to show that they love each other. They got two children who get along rather well and enjoy each other's company.
They
Inappropriate.
try to kill each other.
Yeah, but they're bonding.
They're bonding. They don't actually die, so.
Yeah, that's the wholesome horror of it. You got two children who enjoy each other's company. Morticia and Gomez support their kids and their interests and their passions, even if they think it's strange. There's an episode of the TV show where Pugsley, the son, wants to join the Boy Scouts. And Gomez and Morticia are like, oh, that's horrific. But then they're like, hey, Pugsley, my guy, if you like this, you can do it. I don't like it. I think it's weird, but you like it, so go ahead and do it. And, you know, they're such a loving family, and they support each other so much. And, like, think of Grandma Addams. I don't know, I don't remember if they ever talk about how she's related.
I don't think they ever do either.
Because, at least in, like, the 90s movies, it's just Grandmama Addams. And they both, like, just call her Grandma Addams. And it's like, who are you?
Who are you, Grandma?
How are you related? It's like,
Just an old lady that showed up on the doorstep.
honestly, I wouldn't put it past them. They would 100% take her in. I love the Addams Family so much. But, like, Fester, even. He's Gomez's brother. And in, like, the 90s movie, Addams Family, the whole plot is that this lady finds out that Gomez is, like, Fester's brother because she finds Fester, and then she thinks that Fester just looks like... her son just looks like Fester. But then plot twist, her son is Fester, but he got lost in the Bermuda Triangle and lost all his memories. And so then they're like, hey, this fortune, the Addams fortune and the estate, that's ours. And so there's, like, a whole thing, manipulation. We love it. Love to see it. But then at the end, it's like, okay, now the house and all the money, technically, in the eyes of the law, belongs to Fester. But the dynamic of the family does not change.
They're all just chilling, having fun together.
I love the Addams Family so much.
I know.
Oh my god. Anyway, The Munsters. It's another good example of wholesome horror.
I've seen a few of those episodes.
I vaguely remember The Munsters.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get into them as much as I got into the Addams Family, obviously. But, like, I love them too. They're very nice.
They're fun.
So I personally kind of blame wholesome horror movies for the way that I turned out to be today. Specifically, that dumb coffin-shaped book that I can't even, like, think of the name of.
It's a coffin-shaped book.
Yeah, and, like, if you're just trying to...
can't be too many of them.
No, but I've tried so hard because I can't think of the name of the book or anything about it, really, other than it contained spooky things. And so all I have to Google is Coffin Shaped book about horror. And that doesn't really help me with anything.
Google, you're failing.
Google is failing me. If you're listening, Google, be better. So thank you for listening.
Search engine.
Yeah, have a better search engine. Google. God. So thank you for listening to Of Goths and Goblins. Please remember to rate and review us on iTunes. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Of Goths and Goblins for some not-so-comedic comedy. You can email us with questions or topic ideas, or, even if you know what this book is that I can't think of, you would be solving a lifelong question. Please help me. You can email those at ofgothsandgoblins@gmail.com. Just like that, all one word. Thank you for listening, and remember, take your brain out of your skull and run it under cool water every once in a while. It deserves it.